First of all,
I'm
First of all,
glad. I'm glad those fucking double jointed people have health risks. They were the first in elementary school to brag about their double jointedness. You know what I mean? You
get jealous of them there? The freaks in school going, look, can you do this with your thumb?
They were just always so proud. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have you ever met a double jointed person who didn't talk about it? You know? So I'm glad that they're dying off.
I just think that article should be 2 separate articles.
I know. It's unrelated.
We studied the brain.
I don't know if we were
ADHD.
recording when we started it, but were we?
No, I think so. Can you turn down my headphones slightly? Matt, we sort of started, but we can also cut this out if this is weird. But please sit down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry.
How are you? Yeah, you. Yeah, but it's fine. They can hear it in the echo. It's like a natural start. It makes them feel like they're here.
Yeah.
Is there anything you don't want us to talk about?
Oh yeah, we could.
Let's see if we get to it. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, we'll pivot.
Off the top of my head, no.
Great. That sounds
cool.
good. I appreciate being here.
Lip color.
Yes, please. The cameras are on and they're very high def.
Yeah. That's why I have a shitty camera so you can't see my pores.
That's smart. Yeah, we did get more high def, and you can see how tired I am every weekend. You can see me getting deeper into. You can see that I came from Springfield, Missouri.
Is that where you were?
That's where I was.
For how many days?
Yeah, I was there for 3 days.
Wow.
And it was a real mix of more than a normal. Now most shows are like fans. And this was like, I didn't have a lot of fans in Springfield, Missouri. So it was a mix of like my more left-leaning fans and then people who live in Springfield, Missouri. So there was way more. Yeah. And it's good. It's good to try to do the jokes in the space where people, but in Missouri, pot and shrooms legal. Abortion is not. Which is a wild combination. I thought drugs would ultimately make people more like it's hard to be like, oh, what if everything's alive but it begins at conception? They don't seem to go together. So it was a weird place to be. Little pockets of I always want to use the word liberal, but that's not the right word. But little pockets of like.
How big is Springfield? Because it's not one of the bigger. It's not one of the.
Are you okay?
Cities.
Did you lose your seltzer? Oh God, please go get it. It's a 500 square mile. I don't fucking know.
I know, but I mean, like it doesn't feel like it's that big of a city. Is it a big city though? You know, I'm not big, but like like what? Compare it to another city you've been to.
It's hard to know. I'm in my little bubble there. It's not huge for sure.
Okay,
but I thought it was interesting. They had like little pockets where you go, oh, like I feel like you notice more if like a store has like a rainbow flag because you're like, oh, in Springfield, Missouri, this is like you need an indicator.
Yeah,
you need an indicator of like, hey, this is a cooler space.
Yeah.
Did you try the dogs?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
It's astounding.
Yeah.
By the way, I should say this is coming out after the election, which was a huge mistake on our part. It's like if we started. It's like we started recording. It's like there's a meteor that could hit Earth in 2 weeks, and this episode's coming out after that.
Yeah,
so we might be dead.
So
who knows?
So everything could age poorly or very well.
If there's one thing that we know, no matter who wins, we'll still be sending money to Israel. And that's
okay. So we can really talk about everything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
that's kind of that's kind of the like barometer for on a podcast. I feel
we're here. I'm here with my co-host Russell Daniels.
Hi, Gianmarco.
And we're here with. Do you like the word influencer? Or do you hate it? What do you like?
I do hate it, but I've been called worse. Before noon today. So
sure, that's why I do the intros and not Russell. Photographer.
Oh my, what?
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. You could just call me Matt.
Just Matt.
Yeah,
Matt. Thank you,
fine.
Matt. Thank you
Most
for
nondescript
being here.
white boy name. At least you have Gianmarco. That's like Gianmarco.
Anything you want, really.
Oh,
Gianmarco.
Wow. I'm getting warm.
Not Giancarlo.
Not Giancarlo, please, dear God. Well, Matt, we'll get to you in a second. But
Giancarlo is a worse name than Gianmarco, I will say, as your friend. And I'm not saying that because of
why'd you add that
biased.
as your friend?
Well, because I didn't want to feel biased. You know what I mean?
If you said as your friend,
no. I'm
Gianmarco
saying like if I
sucks.
didn't know a Gianmarco, I think Gianmarco is a more interesting name to me than Giancarlo.
Because there's more
offense.
Giancarlos.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito, though, that's a nice.
That's a good
nice
name, actually. Yeah.
Can I say something?
You can say anything.
So I walked in just now, and I asked if you lived here, and he said, "No, my girlfriend used to live here." And
Amazing.
I
please.
didn't know you were heterosexual.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Are you
still good to be on the
heterosexual?
show?
Well, no, because I was kind of wondering. Maybe
this changes everything.
Well, it
You
does.
just
It
leave.
does.
You fully leave.
No, it's just cool. It's getting me out of my my bubble to talk, to a heterosexual.
Sure. Well, do you have any questions for us?
Well,
too.
I have a
Yeah,
lot,
we're
but
both-
probably for another time.
Sure. We'll answer anything. But
Yeah.
yes.
Both of you.
We occupy an interesting space where it feels very gay.
Yeah.
The podcast. Yeah. And
the
us.
Twitter, which is how we met.
Yes, but I bring up the girlfriend a lot in the Twitter.
Really?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
See, I'm just a poor observer then.
No, you're not the first in that couch
Yeah.
to be surprised
that
by my
couch.
heterosexuality.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, no, but we could turn this. I just made an episode of my podcast, A Bit Fruity, about Jubilee. Jubilee.
By the way, A
YouTube
Bit
channel.
Fruity was the original name for this podcast, and then we saw you had yours, and we went a different direction. I listened to the Jubilee one.
Oh, you listened to it?
I listened to it because I thought it was a
thank you.
really good. I wanted to bring it up today too.
Oh my God, I am happy. I was thinking, you told me to come with things that I'm annoyed, topics of things that I'm annoyed about, and I'm ready to talk about Jubilee if you want.
Well, good. Well,
But-
let me just before we'll get into this intro music. We had a chaotic beginning, but I'm sure even no matter who wins the election, Jubilee is still going to be thriving. They're
Wait, I
ready
don't
to
know.
survive.
Jubilee is about to catapult post-election because it's going to be it's going to be lesbians that are happy that Trump won versus heterosexual Arab men who are sad that Kamala lost or something. It's they're just going to continue.
That's what it is.
What is
Jubilee?
it?
I think we talked about it, but you hadn't seen the video. It's a lot of it's videos where they kind of pit people with opposing views.
Oh, yes.
But-
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
what your podcast pointed out is that it kind of creates a fake argument almost. It really pulls people specifically to kind of do a both sidesism and makes it seem like there are these two extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find the middle in here. Number one, they never find the middle.
No.
B, one side is usually kind of a normal, kind human being, and the other is the most extremist.
It's like a Nazi. Yeah.
And-
it's
and-
literally
Yeah,
Nazis.
yeah, yeah.
and like a PR trained Nazi, like a Nazi who knows
Yeah.
how to get a good line.
Yeah.
But it's to your point. It's also just a lot of times the conflicts that they create aren't conflicts. They just put, I think, a third or fourth or fifth video, I'm not sure, on fat people versus skinny people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just are these two groups ideologically in conflict with one another?
They
Just
are.
so you
They
know,
are.
that was also
We
that was
are.
also the original title for this podcast.
Fat versus skinny.
But anyway, the reason that I brought that up was because we could turn this into one of those. It's define the secret twink in the room, or
I'm
who's
sure.
the secret heterosexual?
Well, let me ask about the Jubilee. We'll just jump right into it because I thought I certainly get that thrill of. You didn't. I mentioned it to you, but there was one that went very viral, and it was this 19-year-old, 20-year-old liberal kid, very
Oh,
smart.
right.
I mean, just facts, in a way that I could not possibly engage in a debate. I'd look like a fool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was him versus people who supported Trump, and he made good points, but ultimately there's no winners here.
Right.
It's
No.
all just chaos. But there is a part of me that does. There's a moment where I'm like, yeah, you showed them. You showed that, but their minds aren't swayed.
No, of course. I mean, you might have little moments of I don't know, a dopamine boost by watching the guy that you've already gone in agreeing with make a good point against the other guy.
Yeah.
And that's thrilling for 4.5 seconds. But I repeat this everywhere I go. The only winner in those videos is Jubilee because they cash the AdSense check.
Yeah. Do you think
Everyone, no matter how many good points your guy made, everyone leaves those videos angrier, more divided, more confused. It's I don't know. I just feel like I have to take Xanax and go to sleep every time I watch a Jubilee video.
Do you think that debate can sway people, or do you think that version of debate inherently, aside from the fact that these sides are kind of ill-conceived.
Sure.
Do you think that form of debate can ever sway anybody, or do you think it's a ruse?
I don't think that type. I think debate, first of all, debate I think is healthy. But there's a difference between like debate, like what we do maybe at the table with our family or between friends or like in like behind closed doors, and like debate as like a monetizable content genre.
Yeah.
Because one of them, like, you know, when you debate with someone privately, at least, you know, more often than not, you're trying to understand the other person. You're trying to maybe find a middle ground or maybe just hear each other out or, you know, squash the beef or whatever it is. And I really do think there's learning opportunity there. Like, you know, on Israel, right? Like I come from a conservative Jewish background. My family is very actually divided. Like it's less me versus all of the elder generations of my family than I expected.
Yeah.
But it is certainly divided. And we've debated this at length. And I do want to know where my grandmother comes from. You know, we're separated by 60 years and like her perspective is interesting to me and I want to know about it partially also so that I can argue my points better and more effectively, right? That's different than like us turning on a bunch of softbox lights, getting on our microphones, getting our ad reads ready and being like, how can we inflame this conversation as much as possible so that we can get basically like angry viewers to like come in and comment and get it boosted in the YouTube. Like there's just different things. And Jubilee, in my opinion, at least for a very, very long time, has not been in the business of finding any sort of middle ground, of enriching the viewer, of enriching the participants. I just don't believe in what it states its mission is.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've the cynical view of Jubilee. I think sometimes I think about these generations who watch YouTube and get their views or their morality or their belief system from YouTube. Because I'm 10 years older than you. He's 30 years older than you, and YouTube wasn't a big part of my.
Thanks
like,
for making me feel so young.
The cameras are high def. Everyone already could tell, but YouTube wasn't a big part of my life.
No.
In that era of. But my little brother, yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I go. Especially, let's just say theoretically Trump won this election, and they go that there were a lot of young, estranged, or lonely or sad, depressed, straight white guys. I go, fuck, how do you engage some of these guys without? Sometimes my little brother, he needs that pop. He needs something a little bit spicy, and I go, who knows? Maybe you watch enough. Maybe you watch like a queer person who's has a fucking wicked tongue, and you go, that's badass, and ultimately that's what shifts you.
Yeah. Okay. I've felt this exact like conundrum so many times in my own work because, okay, we have to talk about Andrew Tate for a second.
You know Andrew Tate, yeah?
Yeah.
Andrew Tate and I had a little bit, I don't know if I would call it a beef. It was mostly a one-sided beef of mine in his direction.
Yeah.
But then he ended up like contacting me, and then it was a whole thing in 2022 because he was like really popping off. It was like the height of his before he was banned from every social media platform.
Yeah.
And I kind of like was one of many creators at the time who was like social media tech companies should be taking the lead here and like banning him from different platforms.
Sure.
Which ultimately was successful, and his popularity has dwindled.
He's still on Twitter.
He's still on Twitter.
Yeah.
I think he was maybe banned from Twitter before Elon brought him back, or maybe he was never banned. But he was like huge on Instagram.
Yeah.
And all these other platforms, and he was and banned from YouTube. But so. Do you edit this?
We can add something.
Just just like because I'm like I need to think.
You can think.
But the thing that I watched so much of his content during that whole like circus of my involvement with him, and I was getting posted on like the shade room type pages of like this little twink. It's like it's calling for the destruction of Andrew Tate. Like you know this, and the thing that I felt then, which I think you're identifying, is that he's so good at reaching the like emotional pit that so many young boys have.
Yeah.
And like in a way that I can't, right? Like I'm very political. I'm very out there. I think I'm like very opinionated, and I think I reach different people's like emotional political sides, but not that group of like angry middle schoolers that Trump also reaches. And so like I do think they need men that they can identify with, right? And that's not going to be me. But that's part of the reason like I like Hassan Piker.
For sure.
I've watched his streams. Twitch in general, not for me. I cannot watch someone talk for 9 hours on end.
Yeah.
Like about anything, and I don't like video games and I don't care. But I was watching it and I was like, oh, like Hassan is like angry and he's like cursing and he's like really fired up in a way that's like really masculine and like doesn't do it for me at all. But he's kind of harnessing this kind of Andrew Tate almost. They have nothing in common ideologically.
Sure.
But the tone of it, this like aggressive, masculine, like, yeah, we can get angry and like work out. And like,
and he
whatever.
works out and he's like,
he's like big and like hot.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, like this isn't good. His content's not good for me, but it's good for a lot of these kids that he's like leveraging this like emotional void of like weird anger and you know, existential masculinity crisis to like become leftists.
For sure. I think
that was long-winded. That
no,
makes sense.
I think especially with like especially when it comes to like leftist comedy or just content in general, it can have that teeth that, because I think the teeth is what, I mean, when we talk about my influences, it's South Park. And it's like, that's when I was at the age where I needed something that felt a little bit biting and offensive. That's just what that just appeals. And that's why Trump appeals to a lot of people. You were just quote something he said like at a rally where it's like sometimes Democrats will hold it up as, look at this inappropriate thing. And you're like, that's kind of funny what he said. Why are you highlighting this?
Yeah.
Why are you highlighting? Yeah. I was saying the thing about like, yeah. Do I think it's strange for the I know if we don't know who won. Do I think it's strange that the guy is talking about Arnold Palmer's penis? Yeah, it's a little strange. Do I think compared to how homophobic that party is that you're like, hey, can we all admit that we're talking about being impressed by the girth of this dick? Yeah, I agree all these things. But to wave that around as like, can you believe? I'm like, that's not swaying anyone who doesn't like him already. Yeah. And me, who doesn't like him, I go, that's pretty funny.
He's funny.
He told a story that you'd say, I would be at a dinner party and I'd say to my friends, I'd say,
get that fat
Arnold
pig
Palmer.
to the polls or something like that.
He was talking about someone's grandpa or something.
Oh, yeah. He was like, get your fat pig husband off the couch. I was like, what?
But they waved that around.
Okay,
I'm like, let
listen,
that go.
we also remember, we don't know, so we can't talk too like.
Yeah, we don't know. Maybe it worked. Maybe they did wave it around and we're wrong.
But I mean, he is so funny. Like oh my God, someone tweeted this recently. I forget who, but the other day I saw, they were like, you know, I wish Donald Trump wasn't so evil because he's the closest thing we've gotten to like a flamboyant gay male president.
I know.
He's just like,
he's like a things like he does, you know.
We talked about this where he did this. He saw someone
and did the
and the middle finger on the window.
And then also the like, you know, flipping off the person on the mirror. Oh, funny. You know,
His react. Do you remember his reaction when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died?
No.
Yo, you don't that video?
Oh, the video. He comes off the plane
and he pretends like he didn't hear it already. That's what it is, right?
No, I think he actually hadn't heard. It was his legitimate. He got off the plane and a reporter was waiting for him and they were like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died. And he goes, wow. Wow. You know what? I'm honestly sad to hear that. He's so funny. Like, he's so funny. And
well, by the way, his mentor guy, Ray Cohn, was gay.
Yeah. Roy Cohn.
Roy Cohn.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Ray Cohn. His
Ray Cohn.
His very unsuccessful brother. Roy Cohn. Yeah, it's just like
Oh yeah, he was a little fag.
This is a guy in show business. This
Can
guy
I
in
say
show business.
Can I say fag on a
What
show?
did you tell me about
podcast?
YouTube?
Oh, well, we won't.
When you
but
said it
can.
last episode,
Yeah,
what
you
happened
can.
to that video?
You can. I can say whatever I want on your podcast.
This is the downside.
Oh yeah, we
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
Welcome to the downside. If you're a fan of the show, join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. 2 bonus episodes every month. I promise we won't just talk Trump, since who knows where we're at as a country right now. I want to learn all about your life. One thing I just did want to bring up, I had a first acting job in a very long time.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think I can say the show, but it was a multicam. So there was a live studio audience, and it was first multicam I'd ever done, and it was way harder or different than I thought. People always go, "Oh, there's an audience, so it's like theater." It's not.
Yeah.
Not like theater.
Yeah.
There's a weird, like, every joke has a punchline in a way where you then in character have to react to every single, like normally in a scene, if someone says something funny, you just say something back normal and the person would laughing. But in this, because the audience is laughing, you have a beat of essentially silence.
Yeah.
It'd be like if every time we told
Well,
a joke,
you've
there was a
seen-
beat of silence in
You've
this room.
seen them when they've taken people online, take out the laugh tracks from
No, I've never
sitcoms.
seen that.
Oh, it's so funny because it's like so. It doesn't. Sometimes you're like, it doesn't even make sense. Like without the
Yeah.
laughs there,
Right,
you're
you
like,
don't know that it's funny.
gibberish. It's like they're not even talking to each other. You know what I mean? Like
That's
it's
so-
like really, really upsetting to watch.
That's what it felt like.
It's like yeah.
And so I had to do so many, because I wasn't the funny one in the scene. You know, I'm just a side character. And the person, the lead, would say the line, and I had to do like 20 times, just like, and I wish I could do that. That would have been better. But it was like, I struggle with a fake laugh. I get in my head, and suddenly it becomes,
Oh, my laugh was real though. To be clear.
sure. Can you do a fake laugh?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Okay.
How big though? Small.
Oh, let's do a little crank. Let's do a cute little joke. All right, medium. And then just like a big punchline.
Well,
That was terrible. Oh my God. That's what I wanted.
Okay, but those were really impressive to me. Even the
yeah.
little ones.
yeah.
That's really impressive.
I get it's like I can
Laughing
feel,
is scarier than like crying or something for you.
I can't do either. I get in my head.
You would be more in your head about laughing or crying.
I mean, crying, you're either doing it or you're not.
Yeah.
If I were to fake cry, I'd be very in my head too.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. I'm in
Yeah,
my head.
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing acting anymore.
yeah.
But I realized more, because I used to act and then I became a comedian, is that like, I thought it was always like the technique I was struggling with or working on. And it really is more like a kind of deeper, like, is my brain just too ADD? Is it too looking at itself in a way that might just be who I am?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't fake cry or real cry. I've been on Lexapro for 6 years. It's not happening
No
anymore.
real cries.
No real cries.
You haven't cried at all in the last 6 years?
4 years ago, my grandpa died. I cried.
Okay.
That is really it. It's so. Do you guys take antidepressants?
No, I once was going to try Lexapro. I'm on Adderall right now, and that's very new.
Oh,
And when I'm on Adderall, I feel like I could cry at any second, but tears of joy.
You love it.
Oh, I don't do it.
this episode is sponsored by.
Please, if I get free Adderall, my God. Luckily, I don't easily get addicted to things because I'm so paranoid. I'm so paranoid. Like they said, don't have coffee on the Adderall. And I'm just like, I would never, I won't have a Diet Coke until 8 hours after.
Yeah.
But this Adderall, baby, it feels good.
Oh,
It's
good
what I
for
thought
you.
cocaine would have been like. Where I'm just like, I feel like good, I feel charged, I feel ready to go.
Oh, okay. Good.
Would you do it one episode with me?
No.
You don't?
no. I don't need to do it.
Let me tell you what the person who prescribed it. Do you ever lose focus? You can have Adderall. That's the whole thing. And then I paid $400 and they said all the Adderall you want.
Yeah.
So you're on Lexapro.
I'm on Lexapro. Yeah, I have the opposite issue. I just constantly need to dial down
Before the Lexapro, were you crying everywhere?
everywhere, literally everywhere. Oh my gosh, crying in public in New York. First of all, something that I think everyone who lives in New York should do.
Yeah.
Crying on the subway, crying on the perimeter of the fountain in Washington Square Park multiple times. I cried everywhere. Crying in the staircase at my dorm. I was in college at the time. It was a rough time. But
I cried.
we love Lexapro.
Last time of the election, but 2016, the next day,
Oh,
I
yeah.
cried. I went in the street, I was at a rehersal for
You
something.
went
Like,
dramatically-
laid down in the middle of
dramatically
the
went
street.
to the street.
This is hardest for me.
Here's a straight white guy to perform his sadness about this.
I used to when I was like really trying to figure out acting, I would go into restaurants. I would like just try to sit at a coffee shop and just try to like connect to something. And I remember once a woman came over and she gave me a free dessert. She said, "Hey, it looks like you're having a tough time." And I was like, "Yes, Dana Day-Lewis."
I'm gonna start crying more in diners.
Yeah.
Do you miss crying?
Yeah. Do you miss crying? I feel like my
Yeah.
body, I will sometimes feel like I have to cry. Nothing's making like, but I physically need to have that reaction.
It's like an orgasm of sadness in a way.
It is. It's an orgasm of a number of emotions. It's a human need. Absolutely, I do miss it for sure. But like, I don't miss it enough to stop taking this drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
It's in a bad place.
was Lexapro the first one you tried, and you were just like,
No. I was put on Prozac first, which I don't, in hindsight, know why my psychiatrist chose to do that, because the SSRI girlies know this, but Prozac is the one that like the side effects can be a little more like intense if it doesn't work for you, and it does work for tons of people. So you know, every psych med is so different for everybody that there's really no one size. But I was put on Prozac first, and it made everything worse. And yeah, I called her up one day and I was like, "Doc, I know these take a while to work, but like I really want to kill myself."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Okay, new med." And I started taking Lexapro, and for a month it was like nothing. And then afterwards I started waking up in the morning and I was like, I don't want to kill myself. I'm trying to make this funny. There's no way to talk about this in a lighthearted way.
But that's good though, because I feel like sometimes
Yeah.
people struggle for a long time to like figure out the right balance.
Yeah, I think I was lucky that it took me 2 months to figure it out. But like, that was 6 years ago, and I've basically just taken the same dose since. And it,
Is there anything you can't do? Can you drink? Sure.
You're not
supposed to.
I mean,
But that's why. But this is what frustrated me about like with the Adderall, where she said like don't work out after you take the Adderall, like, or don't have coffee after the Adderall. And I'm like, I want to know, can I have a cup? Can I have a small cup?
Work out because your heart could race too much?
Yeah, that's what they say. But with the coffee, I'm like, could I have a small cup? But they go no, because they don't want you to get anywhere near,
Yeah,
and I'm like, could you just tell me the common sense version? Because if you don't, you are forcing me to go Google, is it okay to have one coffee after Adderall? And then seek out the answer that I want.
Yeah.
And it probably is fine.
Yeah.
You ever do anything where you drink, or with NyQuil, you had a couple drinks that night, you take the NyQuil?
I don't really mess around with NyQuil in general.
We're talking about various prescription pharmaceuticals, and you're like, yeah, I don't fuck
like
with NyQuil.
any of the drowsy stuff. I don't like that.
God.
No.
Let me tell you, Ambien. I told my girlfriend. I told my girlfriend.
He's not using NyQuil. He's not taking Ambien.
No.
Oh, the feeling of Ambien. I told, but she doesn't like it. But I tell her, like, if I ever die, or if I ever, it'll be asleep. It'll be because I was trying to go to sleep so hard. It feels good.
I've been I told you I've been trying. I'm still on a quest to find an edible THC that doesn't put me to sleep. They all do.
It's so funny.
They all do. And I go to different places and I say, sativa, like I get one of the ones that is more energy. I can't do it. It puts me to sleep. And it's a bummer because I do have like 10, 15 minutes where I'm like, oh, I feel high and good and relaxed. And then immediately lights out.
But see, I'm the opposite with that too. I tried smoking weed. I tried edibles. I tried everything. I wanted to be cool. Like this started in high school. I tried a million times with my friends, just like any form of THC makes me just strung out every single time.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, how do I sound? Do I sound okay? I don't think I'm having fun. Is this how I'm supposed to feel? Or is my mother going to know? So I don't
like watching things. I don't follow. I don't comprehend. And I don't remember. Or like I don't have a good time watching things. Like it doesn't make me laugh.
Sure, it makes me.
I like music. I like listening to music though.
Is your mom? Is that a thing that is my mom gonna know? Like, do you get nervous about like your mom would be disappointed in you?
Well, this was not that she would be just. Not that she would be disappointed in me, but this was in high school. So it was like I was going home at some point in the evening, and it was more of just like, can she tell? I mean, I don't know. My parents like went to school in Rhode Island in the 80s. Like they did everything. I don't think she would.
There was one time, it was like in high school. I think I got drunk with some friends. It was in New York. We were visiting my grandparents, and I thought I was like playing it off. Right? I had like one chocolate martini, and I thought I was drunk, but I thought I was playing it off. And there's this picture that we took, and in my head, I was just like, in this picture, I'm like,
oh my God.
Well, no,
with my grandparents, and they probably didn't know. They were so innocent and sweet. They probably thought I was tired, but I was wasted. The things that I thought I was getting away with as a kid, I was probably so full of shit, and everyone could tell.
Yeah.
That's real though. I mean, every time I'm fucked up, I take a million selfies. Like, oh my God, in the club bathroom, I'm like, I look like a goddess right now.
Oh yeah?
And then I look in the morning and I'm like, Matthew, just delete 300 photos.
Is the lighting good at those club? I feel like I have not been to many clubs, but I feel like the ones I've been to, the lights, it's so dark. God forbid you have to take a shit. It's you don't know what's going on.
You don't take a shit at the club.
The last club I was at was when we were
I'm going to the club specifically. I'm like
when we did that off-Broadway show together. I think that's probably the last club I've been to.
Oh my God. What was that club called?
There was 2 locations. The last one was Copacabana.
Which
was
we did an interactive theater
and
show
then
there.
The other one was on 42nd Street. I forget though.
Yeah.
It was attached to a gay hotel.
A gay hotel?
Wasn't it?
What, did you have to go in through the back?
Wasn't it a gay hotel? Am I making that up?
I don't know what that means.
There was a hotel. The hotel that we did, remember there was also a drag show there. Remember, like when we did Bachelor.
No, it only comes off as gay on Twitter, but in real life, it's a straight hotel. But gay people are welcome. Yeah.
I went to a gay hotel once. Like I went to an actual gay hotel once.
I swear, I think this was a gay hotel.
Can you Google gay hotel New York?
42nd Street.
42nd Street.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's on by 10th Avenue. Remember? You know what I'm talking about.
I remember a hotel. I just don't remember this.
Maybe it's not gay. maybe they just had that gay show after us. I thought it was a gay hotel though. Oh, Out NYC. Is that
okay? Out NYC.
Is that where I think
to revive? It's a gay-friendly hotel.
Okay, sorry.
So for Russell, anywhere that gays are allowed, it's a gay. That's a gay restaurant.
You put that on your thing in New York City. Most hotels are gay friendly here.
That's like how people joke online, like, "Oh, are you going out to the gay club or the normal club?"
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I remember there was a hotel in Seattle, and they have a sign there that says, "We accept all religions, sexualities, races, and creeds." And I was like, "What are the rules for the other hotels here?"
Jesus Christ. Right. I mean, what does it mean for a hotel in New York City to be gay friendly? That's
what I'm saying.
Presupposing that all the other hotels are like anti-gay.
You're saying
it seems like it's a gay hotel.
Homophobe.
Yeah. I stayed at a proper gay hotel in Miami once.
And what made that gay?
It was like literally advertised like as a gay hotel, like gay flags everywhere. Like, I mean, it was in South Beach.
Sure.
And it was like a boutique hotel. It wasn't like 47 stories. Like realistically, you can't fill a mega hotel with only gay people. Right.
Yeah,
what would a gay hotel room have if it was specifically for gay people that a non-gay hotel room wouldn't have? What would be special about the room?
I mean, realistically, Gianmarco, like
a bidet,
like a shower douche.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I don't think this had that. But if I were constructing a gay hotel, that would probably. But like everyone was gay. I remember I was like, I don't know. I like went to the hotel gym one afternoon when I was there for a work trip and I had some time.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could just like work out in that gym hotel like shirtless, and there was a certain amount of sexual tinkering that was happening in the
gym.
in the gay hotel gym. Yeah.
You always want to work out.
I always want to take off my shirt. I hate when you and especially
go to the gay hotel, but I can't. I can't promise what will happen next.
But this is well. First of all, I get so mad because sometimes you can't take off your shirt, and through the window, what's on the other side? A pool. So if we're covering up nipple, I'm seeing nipples.
Like, yes.
I'm seeing nipples from the room.
Whose nipple?
Oh, okay.
Well, let me take it off on the treadmill.
You're calling out the double standard. Sure.
Listen, I've talked about it before, but I'll bring it up again. Soul Cycle, spin classes do not let you take off your shirt. And I think it is, I hope I'm using this word right. I think it's misandrist. because I have more sweat glands. I produce a lot of sweat. And
how do you know you have more?
There is not.
He counted.
They don't sell shirts. I tried. I bought one of these shirts and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go with a shirt that was cut off here.
Crop top.
A crop top. The way that my the hairy Italianness, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It's just it's too much on the stomach from here. And so then what I do now, I get a band, I tie it up here. I have to deal with every time I struggle, I feel the gender norms is struggling in my head because I'm doing a crop top in the middle of the Soul Cycle.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look good because I'm doing it with like a Nike jersey.
Sure.
And I think you should be allowed to take off your shirt. And I think the fact that you can't take off your shirt, it's like, to me, I go, well, why not? What's to stop from going that to go, well, why are people allowed to show their shoulders? Why are the belly buttons out? Why not take off your shirt?
This is kind of the gendered issue of our time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think though
now I really feel like I'm on a straight man's podcast. Can we just spend the rest of this time talking about how hard it is to be men?
You jubilee it with me. Do you disagree?
Jubilee with me.
Jubilee with me.
I mean, no, I don't disagree, but I also like, I don't know. Have you gone to Barry's?
And you can take off your shirt at Barry's.
You can. That's what I do.
But
Barry's, speaking of gay, like Barry's is a gay workout class.
Is it still though? I felt like it used to be more and now it's like less.
First of all, I don't do any of this more than like once or twice a month because I do not need to spend $40 to work out for an hour.
Yeah, I stopped doing Barry's, but I did it for a long time.
But no, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think you should be able to, but I think that if you should be able to take off your shirt, then I think that women should also be able to take off their shirts during spin class.
Of course.
And I don't know. I think the rules should be applied evenly. I'm just joking because I really do feel like I'm on a heterosexual men's podcast now that we're talking about why it's hard to be a man.
Okay. But back to but all I'll say is that I do think there's something about where you point out that like the gay hotel, I could take off the shirt, I could do the thing that I want to do. I think what can sometimes that we've found is that there's certain things, at least for, I mean, again, I'm talking specifically about the shirt.
Heterosexual contingent.
We got to get a straight man hotel that we can just go to and take our shirts off, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't sound homoerotic at all. Can I go to the straight man hotel too? Sounds fun.
I think it's just one of those things where I would go like, oh, I'd be more comfortable in that space. I'm sure at the gay hotel, I'd go like, this hotel is really nice. I love it here.
Yeah.
We need to create men's only hotel gyms that aren't for gay men.
Gay hotels for straight men.
Gay hotels for straight men where they can just take their shirts off.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
How often are you going to Soul Cycle?
I go to Soul Cycle probably like once a week, and on the road I go to other studios. And so spin in general, spin feels like it's more of more women are in spin class.
Yeah.
In general,
that's probably why.
I think that's why. But I think I do have a sense of envy where I'm like, you have clothing lines that really allow you to be comfortable in this very just sweaty thing. And I don't have necessarily the access or the maybe comfortability, but also the access. Under Armour's not making dude crop tops that look good on my form.
Sports bras? Are you looking for the word sports bra?
I guess I could.
Yeah.
I could, but I think...
Well, that's what women have.
Sure.
Sports bras.
Then make a dude sports bra. Make a dude sports bra, I guess.
In fairness, I do think those, like, there are so many, if you walk around like Hell's Kitchen or Chelsea, there's so many of those like boutique-y gay indie brand stores that they do make like extraordinarily slutty men's clothes that are all so marked up because their market is so small.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I guess I could do it.
Broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
You know?
I really like, it was a crop top, not a sports bra. And my girlfriend ended up, she likes it and she uses it, but I bought it for myself.
Right.
And I put it on and I looked in that mirror and I said, I just
Can't.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
You could take this to Shark Tank though, you know, like gay,
Yeah.
like Fire Island, gay men's sports workout clothes for straight men.
I've already been to Fire Island. I could be like, guys, I went.
I
went to the
what
I
were
went
you
to the
doing in
pool
Fire
party.
Island?
My friend Jay Jordan invited me,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I went, and it was a lovely time.
But-
and I got there. My girlfriend went with me, and it was very funny introducing her to people, just to see the kind of the light leave their eyes. But we got there. I bought a Speedo. Thank God. Because if I was wearing
You bought Speedo when you got there?
when I got there
or ahead of time?
yeah, right there at the pier where they have a gym there, which I thought was so funny.
Oh yeah.
So funny. This
The prison
like
gym.
a last minute, like, okay, let's get a little bit more in. But I knew that I was in a space that felt like, oh, I'm comfortable here. They had the you get the food, and they had all kind of a little bit junky food, but then they had the Pine Boys omelet, and it was like egg whites with spinach and chicken, and I was like, that's what I want.
You're also Jewish.
You think that's it?
Well, I think that being Jewish and being gay are somehow like spiritually similar.
Tell me why.
I can't.
What is it about you
They're
think?
just I don't know. They're just the same.
Yeah,
And I'm both.
sure,
But you're one and I don't know. Maybe that's why I thought you were gay.
sure.
Mm.
All Jews. If you think every Jew's gay, just say, oh, you're Jewish. Well, you want to get out of here? Want to go to the gay hotel?
The gay hotel.
It's a gay Jew hotel.
You grew
There
up,
is a Jewish hotel near there too. Yotel, right? That's Jewish.
That's Jewish.
That's a Jewish hotel. Am I making that up
Wait.
too?
Okay.
yeah. There's Yotel, but that's not
On
a
the Google
Jewish
search.
hotel.
Wait, how could it be a Jewish hotel? Do you get a mezuzah on every hotel room door?
Guys, maybe I'm just.
I know that you
Oh, it's kosher. Yeah.
It's
It's kosher or Jewish observant friendly. Guys, there's a block where they got every hotel you can imagine. Gay friendly.
Do they have a lesbian hotel?
Oh, good thinking.
The lesbian hotel. That sounds like
Lesbian
where the fun
hotel,
happens.
New York City.
So I just like that every time a hotel is like, we're kosher friendly, you're like, so you're a Jew hotel.
Listen, I'm just saying in New York City, these things are assumed friendly in any hotel.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you put it on that this is a specific thing, I think it goes into the category of that is a Jewish hotel
But
or that is
what I
a
think is funny is
gay
that when there's
hotel.
nothing listed, you assume, oh, that's a straight white male
me.
hotel.
That's an anti-Semitic straight white male hotel. Yeah.
That's your assumption
That's a
from the
me
beginning.
hotel, all of these. Yeah.
Anti-Semitism running rampant at the Marriott.
No, I thought Fire Island was so magical, and I want to bring Russell. I want to get a house for just 2 days, just a weekend. I know I'm
How does it work with the
Wait,
houses?
wait,
Those
wait,
houses
but you're not gay either.
no. But
Okay.
we heard Jude Law was there with his whole family.
we heard that's why we want to go back out.
I heard rumors that there have
We
been
heard
multiple
Jude
heterosexuals
Law.
at once.
No, it always looks beautiful, and I'm always like the houses. They look incredible, and I'm wondering how people get them. Like they must be so expensive.
Yeah, extraordinarily.
Like, but how do people?
And it's also like
I
the
know so many
insurance is
people that
insane.
go.
The insurance is insane because they're all also on the brink of being like washed away.
Yeah.
So
Russell, it was magical. The bamboo everywhere, and you walk on the boardwalk, and it's just pool parties, and you just float around and oh, there's this pool party. Let's go there. Walk. It was so nice.
yeah, people leave their houses open. You just float around from pool party to pool party, getting increasingly drunk and dehydrated.
Wow.
And it's
And I feel like I
it's
never
how
see
we
people.
were meant to live.
I never see people do ketamine, and I finally got to see some people just do it right
I've
there.
never
in front
seen
of
it. What happens?
me. They get happy and excited. And
Okay.
we
Have
could
you
do it.
done ketamine?
No,
Did you
I
do
get
it?
scared.
Okay.
I've
How do
done
you- how
shrooms
do you
and
take
acid
it?
now. I'll do it eventually.
How do you take
snort it,
I
right?
snort it. Yeah.
I get scared of the fentanyl thing and all that.
I know.
Someone would absolutely have to do a line before me. And
So
I-
with ketamine, oh God, I
Tell
hate,
me.
I hate when I start talking about drugs because then you sound like the one in the room who's like the total drug fiend, which is fine. I don't do drugs often, but when I do, looking straight into the camera, ketamine is preferred. I like it when I'm out. Do I have to give like drug disclaimers? Like,
no.
be safe.
There's no
No, no,
disclaimer.
no.
Well,
Okay.
actually, I will bring up something after this, but yeah.
Okay, but it's not like Coke, even though it looks similar, but Coke is like, traditionally, right? You'd like do a line. Ketamine, it's much, much, much smaller quantity. You do like this much,
Good to know. I was about to
And
do
it feels
line.
like.
And okay, so I tell people, I've never talked about drugs on my own stuff, but I guess this is being an adult 20-something-year-old in New York City. I always tell people it feels like being drunk, but like swirlier. It's a downer. So, or like not a downer, like it makes you sad, like a depressant.
Yeah.
And so I say that it feels like being drunk, but just like a little more disorienting. Like, did you do Dare when you were a kid?
Oh yeah.
I didn't do Dare.
I still know
really.
the song.
What's the song?
What is the song?
It goes D. I won't do drugs. A, won't have an attitude. R, I will respect myself. E, I will educate you now.
Wait,
That was really.
I had no idea that not only could you
I
not do
remember it.
drugs, you weren't allowed to have an attitude
Yeah,
about it.
you have to be boring.
And I'm going to educate. I'm going to be a little bitch and just like educate everyone about it. Like,
I would have been like, don't do drugs, and like you can be an asshole because you're already sacrificing a lot.
Yeah.
Fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had no idea that had a song.
Dare
Who
was
sang
just
it?
like Christianity.
Who sang it? I mean,
But was it like, was there an animal, like an animal who taught
No, we
it
had
to you?
a police officer who came and
Yeah,
like talked to
yeah.
us. He was like the school safety.
Was he into singing it? Was it clear that it was like a theater kid who accidentally became
No,
a
I don't
policeman?
remember
No.
him singing it, but I feel like he probably played it on something. But we all had to learn it. We all had to perform it. We had to like do a performance of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah.
better than what you just did now. It was a little.
Yeah, I'm sure there was like
Dance
moves
moves?
moves with
Something
it.
is-
Something.
A dance.
Yeah.
The hot to go dance, but for like don't do drugs and
Yeah.
be a kind person.
Yeah.
No, I bring up Dare though because they describe to you in Dare how being drunk will feel. And it's so overblown.
What did they
like,
say?
Because they're like they you do the drunk goggles, but also it's like they're like, I mean it's standard elementary school health class stuff, but like you're gonna be slurring your words and like you won't be able to walk in a straight direction, which that can be true of alcohol in like really high quantities.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you go out with your friends and have a couple drinks. Like you feel tipsy, you feel good, but rarely when you drink, unless you have a ton, are you actually going to be like out of control. Ketamine, it kind of takes you there much quicker,
Sure.
but in a way that like, especially if you're dancing at a club, can feel really nice.
See, I can't. I struggle dancing.
Dance.
I struggle like dancing for like I'll do choreo.
Yeah.
I'll do a hip hop class.
Okay.
You struggle dancing like for fun.
just for fun. I gotta be fucked up. I gotta be pretty fucked up
okay.
to like let loose. I just again I'm
Yeah.
a mess of a human being.
Yeah.
And so I always want to do the drug that'll make me just fucking groove because you can dance.
Yeah.
You can dance. I get self-conscious.
Yeah. No.
And when I dance, I feel like it's very. If you thought I was gay before, see me on a wedding
did.
room dance.
see me at the dance floor.
When you
baby.
see me dance, it's just like, and maybe it's Jewish. I mean, maybe it's Jewish. Maybe that's.
I mean,
that's
even
why they
just
have
watching you like you and Donald Trump with the limp wrists.
I do think there's interesting about the Jewish thing because my girlfriend brings it up. She grew up in a very Jewish community. That there is a flamboyance, and I don't know if it's just like a. I mean, I don't even know how I would define flamboyance other than it's a little ostentatious or it's a little bendy. You let your shoulders move. What's I mean, is that what you'd say that you see with other Jewish guys?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even mean that in like a super serious analytical way, but I do see what you're saying. I mean, my dad is like Jewish, grew up in Queens, like real New Yorker, but he's also like how I think of Jewish men. He's still like a soft man.
Sure.
He's like an emotionally in touch. That's probably less the case when you get into like the more like Orthodox circles, like where they have like really rigid gender hierarchies.
Maybe, but there's still like an avoidance of. I feel like it's like an avoidance of like getting hurt, maybe an avoidance of like hurting. I feel like nails would increase just because you wouldn't want to break a nail, so you'd be operating in a way with a bit more grace, with a bit more not just grabbing something like this, and that would create. I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Jewish men, they tend to be like kind of squeaky, mousy,
Sure.
But I say all this like in the most positive way possible.
Yeah.
And they're not, I don't know. I feel like American like Christian men, there's so much tied up in like American masculinity and like what it like being a child of God and like I'm gonna drive a pickup truck. Like Jewish, we don't have that culturally.
Sure.
In like American Judaism.
Yeah.
Does any of that make sense?
No, totally. Yeah. I mean, I certainly don't. I don't have any of that.
No.
Like I don't know a single Jewish man who like has a like let's crack open a beer and like shoot guns and like this is not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a thing for a lot of Christian people.
How would you sum up Jews?
You're not Jewish.
No.
Yeah. No.
But I'm not anything. Like I didn't grow up with religion.
Sure.
So,
but like ethnically either.
No, I grew up upstate. Very white. Just
you don't
white.
Look Jewish.
Yeah.
Boring white.
Yeah. Every hotel.
Regular hotel.
Are you Jewish on the editing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I didn't know.
You don't know?
I don't think I have like a Judar like that.
Yeah, I get that I'm Italian sometimes. Some people say.
Sure.
No, I got Jew. I see you.
Okay.
Now what was it? Was it the squeaky mousy thing or
This is the hair.
the hair? Sure.
Yeah. He has some nice curls.
Do you have curly hair?
I do when I let it grow, but I don't let it grow much lately. I don't know. It's just with the nails and with the makeup, it's just I can't manage hair. I draw the line somewhere.
Is it hard? Is it harder to do makeup with the nails?
I mean, it's not easier to do anything with the nails, but when you have them, like I've had like these like long nails for 5 years, and you get used to it. Like I don't think that they're there. It's makeup. It's no different. The only thing that is hard is like putting on false lashes because you really have to. I know I'm not speaking your language right now. I'm
No,
aware.
not
Context?
far. We're
Do you have
theater.
Context?
I don't wear anything
Okay, that's good.
on my eyes.
Because I feel like that would be hard.
But people with long nails wear contacts.
I think you just figure it out.
You can do everything except fingering someone.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, bring it up.
Is you ever so in the moment you rip it off and
No, I'm never
you
that.
rip off your nail?
Never.
kind of hot. I think it'd be hot if it's just like
Just like a wild, rugged display of masculinity. Like
a real mix of
I want
masculinity
to
and
top you.
femininity.
I want to top you so badly right now that I'm gonna chew off my own fingernails to finger you. You're like, no, that would be crazy. That's something that I'd only do for someone I'd marry, and even then, it's like, I mean, nails are expensive, Gianmarco.
Sure.
Like I can't like, if I'm doing that, then the person I'm having sex with will need to pay for the repair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they don't rip off easily like that either. Like it's not you
It
can't
would
just
be
like
hurt, wouldn't it? If you
like probably my
pulled it
nail
off?
underneath would come off too. That's how like tightly.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, people who don't get nails done don't really know like the physics of it. But yeah, you really can't just rip it off.
If you're in a fight,
Even if like you really wanted to fuck someone, it's sorry.
You're
really-
imagining like those like Halloween costumes when you're kids and they put fake nails on. Like it's that easily just to pop off.
Press-ons. Where you could just no.
then if you were gonna rip it off and sex, and you're like, I can't. Oh, fuck, it really kill the mood.
Yeah.
Do you? First of all, how do you put these on yourself?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I have someone.
How much was that?
Oh. Wow, it's just my secrets. Usually I pay like $200 for nails.
And how long does that last?
3 weeks.
And then at 3 weeks, is it they start? One breaks off, or you go?
No, so usually, I mean, they're on really, really firmly, so they won't pop off. Though I have had some accidents, which I can tell you about. I had one recently, but usually it's just they start growing out from the bottom, so you'll see the little growth.
Oh, I see.
And so you need to change it, even if it's still like firmly on there, because also, right, this is another thing. Like mechanically, if it starts growing out and you're like it's halfway up your real nail bed, there's like a great chance that it can bend and like really split your nail in half there. Does that make
God.
sense?
Yeah.
And that's happened to me when I've let them grow out too long, and then it's like I drop a weight at the gym.
Oh no!
What
Yeah.
happens to like those
that
people?
was a very gay reaction. See?
Because I broke my pinky once bowling, and they had to take off the nails. So
Yeah.
like I know that's
Yeah.
What about like we've all seen those people that have like the long nails.
like
Okay.
world record.
How,
you mean?
yeah.
Okay.
Like what kind of how are they doing that?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, the
That's
world.
like someone with a ponytail. Like what do you do if your hair's 1,000 feet long?
I mean, but like
You're
the
right,
world
you're right. That's
record
dumb,
lady,
yeah.
the world record lady with the longest nails, like hers are natural even.
Yeah.
Like that's like impossible for most people because they will break by the time way before they get this long. So she's just genetically blessed. But yeah, at a certain point, your life revolves around.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to be monetizing it somehow for your life to revolve around your nails being that long.
That's like asking someone slightly
Shut
taller
up.
than you.
I know it's a dumb question.
Like what happens when you make eye contact with a giraffe? they don't know.
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody.
Let me just say about makeup. Honestly, the only reason I didn't even do it in college. It was required and I got out of it. It's because I don't have the coordination to do it. I went through a goth phase where I tried to put on black nail polish. I mean, it was
sweet.
horrifying how bad I am at anything that requires like staying in the lines.
Painting your nails is hard.
Oh,
It's hard.
I had a roommate once, an actor, and I came out one morning and he had an audition and he had so much makeup on. Like, but you know, straight guy who was going, I think wanting to hide that he had aged a bit and was trying to look younger. And he I wish I'd taken a photo because he asked me, he's like, can you notice? He asked me if I could notice he's wearing makeup. And it was like a clown sitting before me. Like, what do you say? You're like, yeah, it's the craziest thing I've ever, like, it's not crazy if you want to do that, but he was definitely like an actor.
What are you saying?
Trying to be younger and not like a choice. Like not like a,
Well, you feel that with
kidding. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to catch you in a homophobia.
no. But it was very
but that's
funny.
what you feel with a lot of these Republican guys that
Yes.
wear makeup, and
Yeah.
you go. There's clearly a lack of experience here with doing what you want to do.
Okay. Can we talk about the Republican men and what they do to their faces on TV?
I want to know. Yeah.
Because this is, I mean, first of all, TV, I mean, you know this as actors. Like when you go on TV or on stage, any kind of production really in front of an audience, you're wearing makeup, regardless of your gender. You're putting on
Of course.
stage makeup, TV makeup, whatever. Every single, Fox News anchor, Newsmax anchor, OAN, all of these men are wearing oftentimes a lot of makeup. I don't think that's true for every like Republican politician, barring Matt Gaetz, who like is wearing a wild amount of makeup and it's crazy Botox and like, but so the reason I bring it up though is because Kamala Harris just did her Fox interview. And Brett Baer, who was the interviewer, they did this whole long segment about gender affirming care, He looks crazy. He's had it like the Botox, it's like the arch of his eyebrow is almost touching his hairline.
Yes.
He has had multiple rhinoplasties very, very clearly. His nose looks, did you ever watch Botched?
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
His nose looks like when the contestants for Botched would come in and their nose was like on the brink of collapse because it was so small.
Yeah.
His nose looks like that. And his lip filler is migrating outside of the lines. And to be clear, if a woman did this who was not like, an evil news broadcaster, I would be like, work. I love plastic surgery. I love when people get plastic surgery. I love too much plastic surgery.
You love too much plastic surgery?
On other people. I don't, it's not for me, but like, I love when people push the limits of like what you can look like.
Sure.
I do. I love
Okay.
it, whether it's with makeup or prosthetics.
So is it
or
tough when
plastic
you look
surgery.
at Laura Loomer? Do you feel this like, I like you?
Because I'm like, you could be a camp queen, but you're evil. Yes, I love like there was do you remember like the fox lady, the cat lady, this like really famous socialite Jocelyn like Wildstein or
Sounds familiar. Could you pull that up? The cat lady.
Search the cat lady. These are icons, and even like in varying phases, like Madonna.
Sure.
People are always obsessed with what work she's got done or hasn't gotten done, and especially as she ages. And I just think like to toy with people's idea of what you can look like, of what you should look like as you age, as you're young. People make a big deal out of like Kylie Jenner being so young, getting so much plastic surgery, like very legitimate reasons to not like Kylie Jenner, but that is certainly not one of them in my opinion.
Sure.
Love plastic surgery. that's not the issue. My issue is just that these people are like obviously devoting their careers and public personas to evil legislation.
But what I don't understand, and this is where like I get frustrated with Democrats and liberals, where I'm like, then why do we allow Republicans to we're so body positive, quote unquote, that like a Democrat candidate would never point that out in an interview. If you have an interviewer talking about a gender affirming care, it's like that's that moment that I'm like, we need someone to go, look at this shit.
Yeah,
like we need Joan Rivers to like fucking just burst out there,
right,
and roast the person, because especially I feel like sometimes, especially like this very specific kind of a straight white guy, when someone insults their appearance, like for real, it has not happened to them, and they fucking combust.
Yeah,
they combust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and to be clear, like, I mean, I don't think there's like inherent value. I actually think that it's quite the opposite in like criticizing the appearance of people you disagree with politically, because I think then you get into a dangerous territory.
But you can't stop it. But when Laura Loomer does something crazy, you can't help but go, well,
it's a kind of fucked up human thing.
It is a human thing, but I mean, you don't want to flirt too much. You don't want to associate their evilness with looking crazy, because there are people who I politically admire who look crazy.
That's true.
You know,
there are entertainers that look crazy that you love.
Yeah, I don't think you want to. I mean, it's easy to make fun of Laura Loomer's appearance, and
plastic surgery though feels a little bit more fair game, because I go, you like, it's same with like Trump makeup, or when JD Vance, like the eyeliner seems really strong. Part of it's like, well, you made this decision, and you can make fun of someone for I think it's more fair game to make fun of someone for a decision they made than, oh, you're ugly.
That's her. This queen, like, that is a queen. That's a diva.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with her.
And so tell me what.
Tell me.
Whenever Russell
Are you
goes,
guys suggesting this for the first time?
I've seen it before, but I don't know anything about her.
let me tell you my impulse. And I'm not saying this is correct. Okay. I see that, I go, oh no. Oh no!
I don't think
is that what you wanted, or did you like someone who with and again, this is judgy.
Sure,
I'm saying it up front. If someone is experiencing body dysmorphia, and you see them doing something to themselves that you might perceive as harming them, let's do a politically fair one. Let's say someone wasn't eating, and it looked like they were about on death's door. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily go like, "Oh, queen, my thin queen."
Wait, but. If they're, I mean, but she's not on death's door by getting plastic surgery.
How did Joan Rivers die?
Okay, but
it's a very specific.
Sure.
There's not like a systemic death toll from plastic surgery. That's not really.
Sure. Sometimes you wonder when it gets further and further away. You wonder. Again, it's not my business. I would listen. I would never.
But I think also something that you're identifying though is like concern trolling.
Please tell me
when
about
people like mask their disdain and judgment for someone. Oh my God. We're jubileeing it out a little bit.
Go for it.
But like, I think a lot of times, whether it's like someone online, you know, having a very severe eating disorder is very different from opting to get plastic surgery. One is a health issue. The other generally isn't. But I think a lot of times we have judgment for other people, whether they're really thin or really fat, or get a lot of plastic surgery or whatever. Like, we're just judging them from a place of disgust.
Mm-hmm.
But then
I get that.
But then we mask it in like, I'm really concerned about her.
Oh,
100%.
How much do you see that? How much have you done that online where you're like, you know,
that's for me. That's like all the stuff about when it comes to kids and trans rights. And
totally.
I go, you don't care about kids. Stop. Say like that's ultimately like the thrust of my like, you don't actually, you can't even conceive of a kid in Oklahoma. Like, What are you talking about?
Well, and these people are disgusted by trans people. They're disgusted by queer people. They are disgusted, like a really like bodily disgust over like blurring of sort of traditional gender roles, because that's what they've devoted their life to. And when you see someone like changing their gender or existing visually in a way that is confusing gender-wise, it's like shaking the foundation of what they've devoted like their life to, and of like what does it mean for me to be a man? What does it mean for me to be a woman? I know what that means to me, but this person is telling me that maybe like my masculinity is actually not fact.
Yes.
And it's so deeply unsettling and revolting. And
so you think it's about that person's internal conception of their own gender?
I think homophobia and transphobia are really complicated. There can also, of course, be stirred up by media panics and politicians who want to, accrue votes. But I think like the visceral disgust that some people have towards, especially like visually queer people, is from a place of like their worldview being shaken. Yeah, I do think that. And I think that sometimes that, like, I was just on Twitter the other day talking about this, but there's this like, there's the Westboro Baptist Church homophobia, where it's like, you're a faggot, fags are going to hell. And then there's like this way more popular, currently like Anita Bryant style homophobia, which is like, I want to protect the children.
Yeah.
And it means the same thing. And it comes from the same place. I am disgusted by faggots, but I am going to, and it's concern trolling, I'm going to express that as like, but is the science sound on children getting puberty blockers? And, but what about the irreversible effects? It's like, no, you guys hate trans people and you do not want them to exist in public life.
Yeah.
But you can't go on TV on C-SPAN and say that.
Yeah.
So you have to be like, they're mutilating the children and all of this, scary language.
But that's why whenever I hear, especially like with, drag queens reading books at the library and being like, the kids are being exposed to this, that, or the other. I think I always want like the progressive side to be more aggressive in the sense of like, what do you think this cheerleader is at this football game?
Yeah.
Like I want to go to the football game and go like, okay, all you guys who, by the way, if that cheerleader wasn't exactly to proportion, you would criticize her. Yeah. You are all here watching this person flip and the legs and the crotch, and they do a dance where they spread their legs in the air. And like, I would, that's, sometimes it's like these people don't seem to want to be accepting or warm, and I have that urge of being like, look at what you're doing, look at this, look at this, this is just as sexual. What are you talking about?
I mean, talk about going to church and like from the time that you're 6 months old, learning about like being washed in the blood of Christ or whatever. Like it's like such violent imagery. I mean, like being nailed to a cross. I mean,
nailed to the cross.
Nailed to the cross. Growing up, like watching football games, to your point, the cheerleaders, and also like watching like grown men give each other concussions. Like all of this is
Disney movies. You'll see old Disney movies. It's like the princesses are all these. They have big tits. They have a fat ass, and I'm like, do you think that's not part of? That's part of like it's the heteronormative thing of that's fine. It's not sexual. So it's okay for the kid to see this, but if it's two guys, I just don't know. It feels like the battle's not. It feels like. I know it's so foolish, it's so naive to be like, but I did think I thought that the world was getting, especially when it came to matters of being gay and gay rights, that it was arcing a certain direction, and it feels like is not anymore. Yeah, and I'm kind of. It's shocking, and I'm like, it didn't. I have this thing of it feels like nothing worked, nothing stuck. It was just a bunch of people who were angry about it, who have now made a coalition, possibly big enough, depending on who won, to run the country.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go all the way there. I think, right, the famous quote, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards progress.
And I don't believe in it. I don't believe in that.
You don't think that there's any...
I think there sometimes is, but I think very well something could happen, and we go back to fascism, and
that doesn't mean that,
and that quote gets erased from all the books.
But that's a different thing than how the like minds of people of masses of people that feel.
It's how
differently.
I want. It's how I want for sure.
I understand what you're saying, and I certainly think that we are on the brink. I mean, regardless of who won the election, I think we are absolutely on the brink of fascism if we are not like fully. We should be fully vigilant about that all the time. But I also think it's true. I mean, like, even right now that we're in the thick of this moral panic, right, about trans kids and drag queens, like the way the average American feels about queer people is different than it was 50 years ago.
Sure.
And I think especially when it comes to these panics about like, should the kids be allowed to be read story? Like, I really think the average American doesn't give a shit. I do think it's like a small minority that is very loud. Whereas, gay marriage is an issue that is unfortunately pretty like unrepresentative of like where we're at now in the culture. Like, it doesn't address like the well-being of trans people, of trans kids, all that stuff that we've really moved on from gay marriage in a lot of ways.
Is it surreal at all to see, like, I feel like as the culture, as the general populace becomes more comfortable with homosexuality, that ultimately part of the result is like there's more gay Republicans and there's more like I guess in my earlier years it felt like there was more of a tie between like queer or queer friendly and being liberal or Democrat, and then part of accepted society is the spreading out and the like. You're gonna have you'll have the Milo Yiannopoulos of the world.
Oh yeah,
who's straight now, I guess, but you know what I mean.
Milo Yiannopoulos, yeah, he's straight now.
And then ultimately, like, it still isn't at a level where they're candidates. There aren't that many gay Republican candidates, but there will be.
I mean, okay, wait. I want to say though, the reason I brought up gay marriage is just because the percentage of Americans who approve of gay marriage has gone up, so much in the last couple of decades. Now it's kind of stagnated, which is bad. But yeah, I've made multiple episodes of my podcast doing like being like psychoanalytical about gay Republicans. I think, that's another issue that is hugely complicated. But you asked me about in the email before I came here, like bring topics of things you're tired
Well,
of.
sorry, this gotta stop. Can you play This Gotta Stop?
Yeah.
This has gotta stop.
Do you have a This Has Gotta Stop?
Gay Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to just go?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, can I prompt you and then you
yeah,
maybe
that
take
was
this
a big
off?
sigh.
Whenever there's a big Republican convention, sometimes they'll go, "Oh, Grindr reported the highest usage in this part of the county," and I think, and it's like the concept being there's so many guys here who are gay, who are not open, and it's touted as like some kind of victory, and in fact, I think it's just a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I think I guess there are a large number of closeted gay Republicans. I think that's just an indictment of like homophobia still being too present in red states. I also like that story about Grindr being like, the servers collapsing in Minnesota, or I think that's where the RNC was. That was not a real story.
Sure.
People had a laugh, and I think that's a net positive. Fine. But I mean, I divide gay Republicans right now into two categories in my head. One are people who are just like, or queer, I should say, because they're, we have Caitlyn Jenner.
Sure.
There's Blair White, trans Republicans. But there are the ones who are just queer and Republicans in their private life. And then there are people who make who make themselves public figures around being the token minority Republican.
Yeah.
And I think about those two groups differently because I think when we get to this topic of queer Republicans, we think a lot about the people who get put up on like the RNC to talk about, I'm gay and I am here to tell you that the Republican Party is not homophobic. I'm proof. I'm here speaking at the RNC, or like I'm here on Fox News, or like whatever. Like that's what Caitlyn Jenner's whole thing, right?
Yeah.
She's like, all you guys are whining about Republicans, but really it's the liberals who have a problem with like, they tokenize themselves and they make a lot of money off of it. What about people who are not trying to monetize being this token, right?
Mm-hmm. And
I psychoanalyze them differently, and I think that they are both equally bad.
Well, the tokens, I think cynically, I just go, well, they found a place that they can succeed, and there's all these positive reinforcements, and they get to speak at the RNC, and they feel power. But that other side, where they're not necessarily tokenizing themselves, what do you think? Are they blind to the fact that a large faction of the group they now associate with does not approve of them?
I think that they do a lot of mental gymnastics to compartmentalize that fact. I think they will say, well, it's not the majority of them. And, something that they say a lot is, well, they wouldn't be homophobic if we as a community stopped acting like you, Matt, you know, if we stopped with the nails, if we stopped with the shouting from the rooftops about being gay, if we stopped shoving it down everybody's throat, they would accept us if we were just, you know, normal like me. And that is not true. It is absolutely not true. Because, I mean, again, like Blair White is a really popular trans woman YouTuber who that is her whole thing, is like, she's gorgeous. She passes as a cis woman. She is rich. She lives in Texas, even though for most of her career, she lived in LA peculiarly. It's like, what, you're talking about how shitty liberals are your whole career and you like choose to live in LA. Okay,
it's weird. Fox hosts who live in New York.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's, you know, her whole shtick is like, well, the trans activists and the non-binary pronoun people are crazy. Like, maybe if you just acted like me and behaved a little more like how women are supposed to behave, everyone would treat you like a normal person. And that's not true. They want to take your hormones away just the same. They are, you know, as far as gay men go, like there's a cultural disgust towards the sex that gay men have with each other. And that is true if they are, you know, me or Peter Thiel. It's the same.
If anything, without the nails, they could finger more.
Yeah, you landed the plane there. Thank you.
Is it all just to make a buck, or is it just is there real like some? I mean, I guess it can't be. It's you can't have a blanket statement for any of it because it's probably.
Well, I think that's why it's so interesting.
But you're like, it is like a combination of to make a buck and self-hating.
Do you mean for like the influencers?
Just for like the kind of place they're coming from to try and be that voice for that specific thing, which seems to go against who they are as a human being.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I think I'm sure the conservative queer influencers and broadcasters buy into the ideology and they're continuously rewarded for it monetarily and in fame. So I think it's a kind of easier to understand where they're coming from when money is involved.
Yeah.
I think the more interesting segment is these people who are just like living their lives as non-public figures and are just like queer conservatives. But the thing is, like, what do conservatives and like the Republican Party offer Americans, right? They offer them anger. They offer them scapegoats. They offer them this sense of like, you know, return.
Yeah.
And there are some queer people who those things appeal to.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they are able to incorrectly compartmentalize their own identities to like queer people also want a scapegoat sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like queer people can also be racist.
Sure.
Queer people can also hate poor people. Like there's just a segment of queer people who those things appeal to.
That'd just be like, you know, the It Gets Better campaign, but it's just like queer people can be racist.
Also be racist. Queer people can also hate poor people.
Okay. Well, no, but this is exactly that. There's a congressman named Richie Torres, who is a congressman from New York, and he is black and gay, and blocked me on Twitter. And separate identity markers. But are you Googling Richie Torres?
It's with an S, I think. Right? Yeah.
But, you know, he's entirely bought by AIPAC.
Yeah.
And he is just on all over social media. His whole thing is Israel now because I would imagine AIPAC is one of, if not his biggest donor.
Yeah.
And he's talked about in certain circles as like a trailblazer. And I'm like, yes, there was this trailblazer kind of like art show that was put up in Fire Island, and he was put up as a trailblazer alongside these other people, like,
oh my God,
like legitimate trailblazer. And it's like, yes, you are trailblazing in the sense that you can be a queer person of color and still be bought out by the Israeli PAC.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Like you can be queer and a person of color, and you can be so many marginalized groups and a horrible person.
Yeah.
That is equality.
Representing a foreign country somehow. It's crazy.
Do you have this got to stop?
Yeah, real quick. This got stopped this week. You probably know this. I've been in a long feud with my eye doctor, and it's continuing. And first of all, his office sends way too many texts. You know, they do the happy birthday thing. They do
happy birthday.
They do passive aggressive doctor texts about it's been too long since I got my eye appointment. Blah blah But
We miss you.
So it escalated this week because they send that, but they're still spelling my name wrong in the text, and that is like, you're the doctor. You have my paper. Is my name spelled wrong in your paperwork? Like,
what if
you're
that's
the
their
doctor.
way to test your vision?
Yeah.
That was really quick.
But I told you this. It started years ago. He's a very attractive man, and the community loves him. And I feel like I see through him. I feel like he's resting on how attractive he is, and his office is run terribly. Nothing. They'll be like, your contacts are going to be in a week. You know, here for 3 weeks, and they don't know. And it's a horribly run office, but I have to go. It's my neighborhood, and one of the first times I ever went in, he did the exam, and he goes, "Now, people tell you have a lazy eye, right?" That's what he said to me. That's my doctor, and I said, like, not often, like middle school bullies used to, but like, thanks, man. Like, it was like been so long since someone had like commented on my lazy eye.
What a weird way to put it.
And I was like, okay, man, cool. Like, I made it 30 years without knowing. Anyways, so I don't know. I gotta get a new one, but I don't really want to like do the work to do it. You know?
I just love that way of phrasing things as a doctor. Like,
hey,
people are grossed out by this. Yeah.
That'll be $400.
He also makes me feel like, you know, I have weird doctor things. I get like so panicked. So you like look at my chart, and he goes, "Oh, I see on your chart you have high blood pressure and you take medication for it." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "You know, the eyes tell you a lot about the heart."
Whatever.
And then I was like, say more. Like, what are you seeing? Like, am I gonna die? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just like that kind of shit.
People tell you
man.
you're gonna have a heart attack any day now.
Anyways,
my this has got to stop is the culture of always telling people to smile for a photo.
Oh yeah.
I was at my mom's house. I looked at old books of when I was a kid, and it was this moment where I was like, was my childhood good? And I'm like, no, don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Someone yelled at you to smile before all these pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And so you don't have an accurate representation of what your childhood was like.
Yeah.
If I could see a picture of me looking how I actually felt on that beach trip, I'd be like, well, thank God that's done.
Yeah.
But instead I'm like, oh God, I miss being a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gay people don't really do that. We have like, I don't know, there's like
Another thing that I have in common with the gay community.
There's a community understanding that sometimes you have to serve instead of smile. It's like a little,
if I had kids, I would tell them, all right,
That's a
guys,
good point. I'm gonna
serve
start-
on 3.
I'm gonna start.
Serve on 3.
I would when I have kids, I won't make them smile, but I will make them serve.
I'm gonna start just being however I really feel in that moment in a photo.
Frown.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it could be anything. It could be bored. It could be interested. You know, it could be anything.
Those are the only 2 emotions you got in the can. Bored or interested. Horny.
So as a group, we are done with gay Republican eye doctors smiling in photos.
There you go. Our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessing. I'll go first. I did my show Theater Adult at Joe's Pub with Hannah Solo as the guest, and so many people to thank who put that together. But I want to give a special thanks to a singer named Awkward Marina, who she made a TikTok that went viral about Charlie XCX, but if it was like a musical, like an old hokey, like 50s, 60s musical. And I posted a video. Her girlfriend reached out, said, "Oh my God, I'm a fan of yours." And I said, "She lives in New York? So have her on the show." And she just like, it was clear that this was cool to her. And she posted like a picture from the green room at Joe's Pub. And, I take it for granted. I flew in from Springfield. I'm tired. I'm worried the shows. And I like watched her video, like looking how the couch had Joe's Pub lettering and looking at all the pictures. And it was like, I got to feel like, oh yeah, this is cool. And how wonderful.
Yeah.
And it felt really nice. And she did great. So find Awkward Marina. And thank you for doing the show.
Yeah.
You got a blessing?
Yes, my blessing this week is one of my favorite bands is The Cure, and they're putting out new music. They haven't put out new music in 16 years, so it's and I wasn't a fan then, You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
So you're like,
Mm,
I'm
yeah.
getting to like do the album rollout, and it's like so good. The songs are so good so far. It's really depressing, and it's perfect for fall. And I'm just really excited. It's a good feeling, you know, when your favorite band is like putting out stuff, and it
So
just
it's
hasn't
good.
happened forever. Yeah, I mean, I've only heard 2. Oh, well, I've heard some of the live stuff but I haven't heard all of it yet.
But it's okay. It's not
really
bad.
good.
That's
It's
great.
amazing.
That's
so far.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have a blessing for us?
I do. This is kind of like earnest.
That's great.
But I guess that's the point. It was my birthday last week. And I feel like my, mid-October birthday happened to like bookend just like a wild year for me, personally, professionally, all this stuff. But my job is talking about politics online in sometimes funny ways, sometimes earnest ways through storytelling, pop culture, celebrity news, whatever. And I've been doing it for like 5 years. And for a while, it was mostly just kind of like liberal stuff. I didn't like form like huge political identity of my own beyond that. And in the last couple of years, I've like really, people say as you get older that you like go from the left to the middle, and I find the opposite to be true for me.
Sure.
And I want to reflect that in my work. I want to talk about like real things, and sometimes, things that it's hard to like to tack on a Target sponsorship to or whatever.
Yeah.
And I, with this Israel stuff, like I was nervous that talking about it, I didn't know what a job would look like if
Yeah.
because if I spoke my mind on it, really, because, as creators, like I'm not an actor. I don't aspire to that. I just want to be online. That's like the medium that I love. And we rely on sponsorships and agents and all of that stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, what if I don't have those? If I really talk about all this stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
And like 1 year later, God, like things are not getting better in the world, but I'm at a place in my job where I found out a way to talk about it and like stay sustained in my work through like Patreon and my podcast and various things. But I was just reflecting on the past year upon my birthday, and I was like, wow, like I'm really happy that I found a way to make this work and like stay true to myself and my beliefs. And it doesn't look the same, and I don't have the Target sponsorship, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that.
That's great.
We do want to thank our sponsor, APAC. We appreciate all the funds.
We love the funds.
We love the funds.
We love the funds.
Not as much as Israel, but the funds.
Next week on the pod, Richie Torres.
Matt Bernstein, what do you want to plug?
Oh my gosh, listen to my podcast. If you if you liked listening to me, I mean, don't if you didn't. But my podcast is called A Bit Fruity. We do sort of these like research intensive dives on conservative media and internet trends. It's pretty gay. It's a little gayer than this podcast, but not by a lot.
But the
Gianmarco's
Jubilee episode, it was a really good episode, because as someone who like is entertained by it, but like, I mean, it probably ruined Jubilee for me. Like even the clips now, I'll be like, yeah.
That's the point. I want people to turn Jubilee off.
Yeah. So check that out. We'll have all the links to everything. Russell, what do you want to plug? This is coming out.
When's it coming out?
Oh my God, I wrote it down, but it's disappeared. So
if this is before November 16th, I don't know if it is. Come see Uncle Function, New York Comedy Fest. We will be at UCB.
It's November 18th.
Okay, well, you missed it. And fuck off. Nothing to plug right now.
All right, great.
Follow me on Instagram at Russell J. Daniels.
Yeah, I think at this, we may have some downside tour dates that we will announce or have announced. We'll see. I will be in Washington, D.C. this weekend, and it usually sells out. So get those tickets now. And again, even if you watch this, please subscribe on Spotify. It helps us get our ad sponsors. Enjoy the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. I got so wrapped up I didn't think of a good closing joke. I'll tell you what was funny though is Russell has to hop onto this Zoom meeting right now, and as you were telling like your emotional blessing, I could see Russell's finger just hover over that laptop, struggling to decide when it was okay to open it. This is The Downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.